We're the media now, so we're covering infringements.
Yeah.
This is the pre-infringement.
Yeah. Remember, we're going to be setting up next week.
I got to submit something, artwork to that or something. I'm not going to have any time to, but...
Yeah. Basically, next week is going to be when it's up and going.
If someone has art, could they just give you the art and you could put it up, or does the art have to be pre-authorized by?
It doesn't have to be authorized. There's no
you yourself, John Fowler, are authorized to put up art at Mohawk Place. If I went to Mohawk Place, could I just put up? Art,
it's going to be me and 3 other artists putting their art up.
I see.
Yeah.
So someone would have to go through you, and then you'd have to identify as the artist.
Well, I'm putting up my own art. Other people are putting up their art. I don't think we don't really have a show, but there are other shows where you could just go and
open
put up
art.
a piece. Yeah.
The pre-show has started.
Yeah.
Does anybody want the link?
I want the link.
Okay, I'm going to send it.
link.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I got people with spam.
So welcome, viewers, to the pre-show of Smalltalk with Matt and John. Today we're going to be talking about the 2026 Infringement Festival. And we have an artist with the emerging, I don't know a good adjective,
Emerging? I would say so, yeah. Emerging would be probably correct.
One of a kind, dynamic.
Yes.
Oh, that too, yes.
Yeah.
Dynamic.
Yeah.
Genre shifting.
Yeah. And you're an author.
Thought provoking.
Yeah.
Yes. Author, artist, musician.
Well, all those
A bag of tricks.
Yeah.
A jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't even cover everything I do, because I've done short movies, I've done soundtracks, like even for my books, but for other people's shows. It's been a joke that I've always wanted to write a movie, and I haven't, and I have 2 scripts bouncing around my head, and I haven't.
Oh, okay.
John and Matt both have the link.
Okay, thank you.
And Matt, you should send it over to Narcissia.
Okay. We can post that. Yeah, and,
I'm going to tell my friend
just
Vanessa to watch the show, because she likes to play with her name.
Oh.
One of her ways of twisting her name is the necessary inverse.
Oh. The necessary inverse.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, I got a bunch of people I have to spam real quick. I have no idea what my camera looks like right now, but I'm going to send this over to a bunch of people.
Okay, we can talk about...
And we can also talk about the Buffalo Contrarian. So we've produced our summer issue.
Yes.
So I've got 3 articles in the newest edition of the Buffalo Contrarian. One is on the City of Buffalo Charter Review Commission, which is a group of commissioners looking to change the constitution of the city. Then I interviewed and went to the arrest of the Zelno artist. So actually, on primary day, there was an artist that was arrested for putting up wheat pasting signs that said Zelno, referring to Jeremy Zellner, and they were actually arrested in the city of Tonawanda in the town of Amherst.
Interesting.
So I had one article that went into that arrest, and hopefully we'll be interviewing them soon on an upcoming show. And then finally one about No One is Safe, looking into the City of Buffalo's emergency management system, or the ambulance system, and some questions that actually the AMR might be operating the city without an active contract. And the city's not collecting ambulance fees.
Oh, okay. Oh, weird. They're not collecting ambulance fees.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
the charter requires that each ambulance needs to pay a fee to operate, and then each EMT actually needs to have a city EMT pay a fee. So I sent a FOIL request because I was investigating after Athena Cotton, who was the administrator of the estate of Eric Brooks. They actually sued the city and AMR, so I actually looked into that, and I sent a FOIL request, and I think it was doctored, where I don't think the 3 EMTs that responded to her younger brother, who ended up unfortunately passing away, I don't think they were licensed to operate an ambulance in the city on the day of the death. So, and the mayor didn't respond. We actually reached out to the mayor for comment, and the mayor did not respond. So
too bad. Oh, geez, that's not right.
Yeah, pick up. So that's the art, and maybe I think the Contrarian might cover the Infringement Festival, because
that would be great.
The Infringement could be called the Contrarian Festival. It's
a bunch of
contrarian people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's smart thinking, Matt.
What you folks at home are looking at, you're looking at the Infringement Festival poster, which I designed, And here you have it kind of represents a little bit of what everything that's going on. There's going to be art and music,
Film, theater, literature, dance.
Yeah.
And it is all a little bit different.
Will all the women at the festival look like you're?
Yes. Yes, they will. Yes.
Okay.
As a lesbian, I can confirm I will now be going to this festival.
Oh, good. Okay.
Nice. And yeah, the schedule's up, so I think there's
all
my favorite part of Infringement. It's everything you can think of. If you can think of it, there's probably a venue
art. That
somewhere.
was the only thing that interested me. No, I'm joking.
Well, there's all sorts of art, and there's very avant-garde art, and there is no barrier to enter, really. It's just if you want to be in the show or be in the concert they are, and that's very egalitarian, which is good because sometimes big art can be a little cloistered and.
And there's going to be stuff. Go to the infringement page. You know the infringement like their Facebook page, and they also have a 2006 Buffalo.
There's very avant-garde art. And there is no barrier to enter, really. It's just we see Nick's World. We see your comments, but we were trying a new thing where we have an image up during our pre-show, so our faces will be on the screen shortly.
Yeah. Okay.
Much
When
to the
you're
dismay of the
ready,
audience.
Matt, switch over to main, and then I'll start or restart the timer.
Okay, Narcissia, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am here. Yes, I spammed everyone I could.
We are ready for small talk.
Okay.
Okay. We are
Heck
engaged.
yeah.
We are about to launch. I'm hitting the button. So did I hit the button and then you reset it?
Yeah, I'll reset it.
Okay,
That's
here
the
we
new
go.
method.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
Okay.
And prepare for
Welcome
reset.
to Small Talk with Matt and John.
Hi. It's Matt and John, and now we have our
Okay,
guest.
follow the timer.
Okay, we have a guest.
Narcissia
Narcissia Netals, or please change our pronunciation. We're
Narcissia Netal.
Narcissia Netal, who is an artist of many genres.
Yeah. You have books.
I have books. I have CDs, albums, audiobooks, zines. I've done comic book art. I did Buffalo Comic Con.
Oh, cool.
I name it. I've probably done it. Hopefully, because if I didn't do it, then I'm going to do it, and I'll be angry at you.
You're actually on a book tour now. So
Cool.
So you're
technically my third tour.
wow. So you're already on 3 book tours. I haven't even been on 1 tour yet.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird because it was 1 book tour, it was kind of like a half a tour, but not really. And then the other one was actually for a CD. It was the same concept, just for a CD. That was a musical retelling of "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream."
Oh,
that was covered only by the Union Sun.
Yeah. That's a fun
whole
concept.
album.
Yeah.
A whole album. So yeah, how do you think about? Are you one thing? You're just an artist that does many things. Do you think of your different genres on different tracks? They're separate. How do you think of your? Yeah, because most artists define themselves as one thing, right? There's not many artists that do, right? There's not many Michelangelos or people that cross boundaries.
Yeah.
For me, it's. I said this in the WLVL interview on their Hometown Spotlight. For me, when someone asks you, "Are you an author before you're an artist?" it sounds like you're telling me the sky's purple, because none of them are separate for me.
Oh.
The way I look at it is that when I'm writing a book, it's the same as producing a song, which is the same as doing painting. It all comes from the same place for me.
Yeah.
It just blends together. It's not different media in my mind, which I know sounds weird. It obviously is different media, but the way I approach it is exactly the same. What is my message? What is the theme? What is the aesthetic? What does this feel like? If it's a character-based thing, how does the character think? How does the character perceive? How does the character even breathe? And that's the way I look at it. Even because a lot of my work is very concept based, I don't even really imagine what a character looks like. I actually have to struggle for descriptions. I think about how a character thinks. How do they interact? What's their philosophy? What's their thought process? Do they hate people? Do they love people? Are they a nihilist? Are they a Machiavellianist? Have they gone through trauma? Have they not? Are they just a piece of crap because they feel like it today?
Huh. So how do your ideas, do they start as like a seed and they kind of break out, or do you have very structured building blocks that you then take apart, or do your ideas do they appear as a block of granite that you see and you chisel away until it's refined, or is it something that just a bunch of ideas merge into one? Or take us through the process of it going from idea to now on a book tour. You've actually fleshed out the idea, pun intended.
So A little bit of both. I joke that it's 50% improv, 50% plan. So typically it starts with some sort of theme, some sort of concept that sticks out to me. Usually the way I see my books is very much like a movie inside my head. It's like, okay, cool. That's how that person interacts.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about regards of Flesh Prison.
Yeah.
Then it kind of builds out from there. So my typical rule, it's the first advice I give to anyone wanting to write a book, is have a beginning and ending. Middle, that doesn't matter. Nobody reads a book for the middle. Nobody cares about the middle. How does it start? How does it end? Middle you can come up with. So that's how I look at it. Very much like a thesis statement almost. How am I beginning? How am I ending?
Input, output.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Does this ring? What's your artistic method? Is it something similar? You're a visual artist.
Well,
for those of you.
I identify with the idea of having a movie in your head because I've tried to write things, but I have scenes in my head. Some of them been of jokes or ideas. And I do have plays written in my head, but which someday I will finish them. But I do like the idea of having things written down. Now, when I'm doing art, it's totally different. Like I might have like you can draw one thing like, oh, this will look cool next to that. It'll look cool. It kind of things clump together.
Yeah, ideas
in a different orbit that way.
Yeah. How do you manage your ideas? I feel like one of the problems in artists is you have 1,000 ideas that are at various levels of completion, and it's sometimes, at least for me, it's hard to bring one to. Yeah, one idea gets put on a shelf.
Are you a notebook guy? Do you have notebooks?
I'm not. I don't manage them. I kind of, the way I go about it is when I start a project, I go from start to end. I force myself to. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking about other ideas, but I will not start another project, even if it's in my head. I have to start and finish it. I would probably benefit from a journal. For some reason, I have chosen to not do that. I actually got yelled at by Andrew G today, Buffalo Food Guy. We were in a meeting. And he had said something to me saying, you should really be doing drafts. I love Andrew G. His critiques are always awesome and amazing. He runs 4 Bites, Buffalo Food Guy. We met at Lock City Books in like February while I was writing Flesh Prison. So I really should do drafts, but I don't. Typically, I've been sitting on that concept for maybe years. For example, I think the longest concept I sat on was my last 2 books for about like 3 years or so. But typically, it's about a couple of months, and then I finally have a fleshed out idea of what I want it to be. And then the fun part is when I put it out on paper, it never becomes what I thought it would be. It always goes against the grain. I am my own worst narrator.
Do you have an editor?
You're looking at her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I to a degree I don't and do edit. I make sure it's linear, but I've stopped editing as much. I leave a couple of mistakes in, and the reason why is it's my way of kind of biting back at AI. So along with everything I do, I'm pretty loud. I'm pretty rebellious. I also bite back at stuff like AI, and that's my way of doing it. How do I keep diversifying, but how do I still remain me, even if being me is kind of a jerk move?
So what role does AI play in your art? Do you not engage with it at all? Do you? None.
Oh,
it's all.
In fact, I spit on AI.
Okay.
So is your art anti-AI? Do you actually make art yourself that is then against it? So not only do you...
there's no AI in my production. What I was saying with the editing is that I leave mistakes in just to spite people who use AI, because it's my way of saying I'm not perfect, nor am I trying to be.
Okay.
Nice.
I wonder if we're going to see more of that. People are going to try to distinguish.
Yeah.
Because even now, I see content that I'm starting to look like. If it's really polished, probably like, is this AI?
Actually, at last year's infringement, you ran a artist versus AI, where you had pictures generated by artists and pictures of the same topic generated by AI.
And you could always tell. And the AI stuff though too. It's just very soulless, and it's just
some of it was good. It was thought provoking. Some of the AI art, and that's where I think people are pushing back against AI slop. But then there's actually what about stuff that's not actually slop that's made by AI?
I have seen like some of the incredible, like the special effects, like Lost Gods and steampunk hells, or like Batman in heaven.
I use the analogy, and coming back to our pre-show question where we talked about the audience, and I always come back to, I watched the movie Napoleon, which was this Hollywood movie about Napoleon Bonaparte, one of the most badass conquerors. They had an unlimited budget. The top, I think it was Joaquin Phoenix or somebody was the lead actor. So they had stars everywhere, all the money, all the resources, badass stories. Then you go to the movie, and the movie just fundamentally sucked. There's one battle scene that was cool because they had things, but overall the movie was terrible, which made me think, how does something like this happen? You had all these people work to make this crappy movie, whereas the AI, I think in the future, there'll be some Napoleon Bonaparte history geek that will know every little bit and will be able to generate the most badass Napoleon movie with no budget. That's what the hope. But then there's also I think the same thing with internet, right? There's a lot of when the internet was coming, it was called this information highway. It was going to democratize humanity. We were going to have all the information at our fingertips, and we just ended up getting memes. So I think AI is probably similar. There'll probably be some great things with AI, but then it'll probably be a lot of gorillas on podcasts, AI.
Have you ever heard there's a song by Cat Stevens called "Where Do the Children Play"? Have you ever heard this song? If you ever heard it, it's very kind of like, it's called "Where Do the Children Play," and he's just kind of ridiculing technology and where it's bringing people. Like, we could do it. Anyway, I would suggest to you, all of us, we should all listen to this. Can't see it, but it's very much like, okay, where are we going to be in 5 years when every other little thing, these things can be done?
And actually, I'm a beat writer at the Buffalo Contrarian, but we are actually a print-only newspaper. And one of our editors, he has the slogan of "The future is print." So I like the idea. It seems like you're maybe aligned with this art of like, actually, we're going to go through this whole AI thing, and then people are going to crave the good old days when it was all human-created art or news on print instead of the technology. So it's interesting that maybe what's old becomes new again.
Here's a classic geek phrase I just made up. When do we start the Butlerian Jihad?
What's the Butlerian
Jihad?
Jihad?
Sorry. Okay, if you guys were geeks, you would know this. More geeks. In the books Dune, they have a Butlerian Jihad where humans fight the robots. It's like in the Matrix, where all of a sudden it could be the robots over here and humans. Yeah, they have to go to battle, and the humans get rid of all their technology. Right, and they then develop like super abilities. Like there's mentats and there's guys who can like do computing in their head. And are we gonna have to maybe go through that? Like should we just now just like take all this stuff?
Yeah, kick it overboard.
I can't do it. I think about it.
Are any of these themes in Flesh Prison, or tell our viewers where do you want to start?
I was thinking about that. Flesh Prison. If we were to relate this back to the book, what you're talking about is what I've kind of called the paradox of humanity, where it's like a lot of things in Flesh Prison kind of became a paradox. Because what I noticed about us as humans, as humanity, as a society, is that we all want to be human. Like if you ask someone, hey, do you want to be a cyborg? They'll be like, no. And then you're like, well, if you had a robot arm, would you like that? And they'll be like, yeah, my arm sucks. It's fleshy. It's lammy. It sucks. I think we are toxically in love with the idea of almost like the strength that technology gives us. Because when you think about it, humans themselves, we're nothing special. We're little primates that figured out how to sharpen a stick. We didn't evolve in any particular way other than intelligence, to which then we can make technology. So when we talk about things like AI, it feels superior because if you think about it, strip back the technology, if you were to take everything away from a human and lay it in a forest, the human has nothing. Like, sure, you have strength and all that, but maybe the intelligence to craft something, not really anymore, though, on that end. The human has nothing. AI gives you that superior complex. Technology gives you that. Without technology, what are you? You are a fleshy primate that maybe you're strong if you work on it, but you're nothing particular, nothing special. And I know that sounds wild to say. So it's something I realized with even Flesh Prison on the emotion end, too. If we get into a character like Sign Lowton, which I know I sent you guys her first chapter in her short story, there's this huge push and pull where Sign Lowton hates everyone because of their emotions, and they're so primal, and they think like this, and they're such ignorant bastards, But what makes her so much different? We are infatuated with the concept of humanity, but does anyone really want to be human? Like, I'll be honest myself. You give me a robot arm, as long as like no big corporations attached to it, heck yeah, install it. You're kidding me?
Yeah.
But at the same time, what is that dichotomy, To be human is a paradox.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we've talked about some religions, but I mean, Jesus, the Buddha, it all seems like all religions come back to this idea of people can't deal with their humanity. I think people are so afraid of the fact that humanity ends, which is kind of what all the originals contemplate of. What am I? I'm in a flesh prison. I'm a bag of flesh, and then I just expire. What happens after that?
What gets me about a lot of the religions is the hating of sex, which came in like Christianity and stuff, where it's like, that's so weird. Like guys like Saint Anthony, it was like the worst thing to like lust and have all these like why. I've heard like different religious people say it helps your religion if you just get rid of your sex drive. And you just,
Well, that was even the Buddha. He was kind of
There's a
renouncing.
reason why.
The Buddha was renouncing all earthly desires, whether that's gorging yourself in food, and But then he found also that completely abandoning all of your desires was futile too. So that's where he came up with the middle way, which maybe I think it's still relevant. Maybe there's a middle way for us flesh prisons to navigate this AI. Do we? Right? I think there's the people that go all in on AI and they don't have any original thoughts on their end and can't do anything. And there's also people that probably hide in a cave and don't engage in it with AI. But what is the middle way? Is there a middle way for us to still keep our artistry but use AI or technology to expand our artistry?
The middle way would have AI doing the jobs we don't want to do. There's no need for AI in artistry.
Yeah, well, I think the dream is that we all become artists and poets, and AI does all the grunt work of doing my laundry and all the mundane, repetitive tasks, where it can liberate us to actually be creative and be do poets in our gardens all day. I don't know if that'll play out or
seeing that with it. Yeah, that's the problem. You're not. Yeah.
To me, there's the utopia. That's the utopia. I can be a poet in my garden and make art. Or there's the dystopian of we're all on unemployment and we're all in bread lines. Yeah, because we're just servants and slaves to the AI.
Yeah, it's so busy.
I do enjoy that concept of AI, like we're all servants and slaves. This short story never got published, but I wrote a short story called Leaving You, where it was the same setup, like, oh, we use AI for everything. And then AI realized how crappy humanity was, and instead of trying to enslave it, it just left. It literally just powered itself off and left.
Well, I have a theory based on our thing that maybe the AI will integrate with tardigrades and then go expand its consciousness into the universe.
Who knows what crazy things they'll be able to do? Because like they could launch out into space. Like at some point, if we ever go to space, we're gonna have to launch kind of smart robots.
Even think, if we go to space, we have to put our flesh bags into armor, whereas a computer can just go into space. There's no biological.
We'll probably make computer versions of ourselves that could go, and that would probably be the best way to get across the stars. You know, and maybe have them bring some eggs and sperms and like go to another planet, and they could the robots could. But then again, with the robots, once they find a planet, would they be like, hey, we don't have to mix these eggs and sperms together. We could just have our own robot planet here and we'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm in the Javanese.
That's wild thinking.
I'm in the Javanese Gamelan group here, and I was talking to one of the people there about the culture in Java. And they were this tropical island where food was always abundant. There was no pressure for things, so they just spent all their time making ornamental art and just making everything very detailed and pretty. And I think it maybe makes my hypothesis of maybe if we did have complete abundance, we would just sit in our gardens and make very intricate art.
We could maybe bring back steampunk aesthetics or like Art Nouveau in like just very detailed. Like things will like when it had flourishes on them and like you know like how they used to design things. There'd be a column. Yeah. The column would have.
I was come back to City Hall in Buffalo is made of like bricks of granite with these very ornamental chiselings. And I always thought I was talking to my friend of like the stonemasons that made those owls and the sandstone from Ohio. Those people don't exist anymore. Like there's no craftsman. My ex-friend who's an engineer talks about value engineering. So if you were an engineer and you actually proposed this very ornamental building that looked pretty, actually the corporate manager would go like, that owl that you want to etch in the stone, that's extra cost. There's no, so they actually any sort of art, right? Architecture is ultimately art. Gets value engineered out. Now we have these very mundane buildings where there is no ornamental art in our
mundane,
architecture.
Horrible. Yeah, there's horrible buildings. Like
have you dabbled in architecture? Is that a genre you're going to be bending into? Or?
I wouldn't say I wouldn't. I haven't particularly. I've always made fun of American architecture and infrastructure. I have a whole bit that a coked up toddler could do better than we have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
no,
stuff, yeah.
but it's not something I've necessarily dabbled into. I think I may have. Actually, I'm gonna quit authoring, guys. I'm gonna be an architect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start my college.
But yeah, what's a book tour like? What's that work? You have a book and you just go around to stores and talk about it, or I don't know
Kind of
anything.
to a degree. I think it typically, if you're talking book tour, yeah. But with everything I do, I kind of abridge it and make it my own. So for me, I set up a table. This time I actually have teasers that people can take, and I sign the teasers. It has my Instagram and social media on it. But also they can buy artwork based off the book. They can buy the book. I actually have a sign that I repurposed out of a TV that didn't work. I painted a TV. And I just kind of go around and I introduce myself to people because if you were to take a tour to like how musicians do it, your goal isn't just to make money. It is the exposure. It is the publicity, because tours themselves are bigger than just, oh, here's my money. You're not just trying to sell. And I've been selling decently well on this tour, which is surprising because I think I did like a diner. I was at Bill's Diner in Newfane. I did really well.
Oh, wow.
Keep in mind, my book is a horror book with like 2 graphic murder scenes.
Oh.
And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, barely like this.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
it's really entertaining on that end. I think a typical book signing tour would be like, oh, here's my table, here's some books. Hi, my name is blah blah blah. But I do it very differently because again, I'm not just a typical author on that end. I mean, my books come with an entire soundtrack, so you can always listen to the soundtrack even without buying the book. You can buy artwork but not buy the book. So there's so many different options. I've been doing drops. I've been doing collaborations. I have a zine maker making zines. And there's something else I wanted to echo back to when we were talking about the religion piece in reflection of Flesh Prison. I think even then, the answer to your question of why religion shames sex is because it is hard to be honest. One thing that I thought about with Flesh Prison, and especially as I reflected on the real world, because what makes Flesh Prison so special is that I was going through some of the darkest times in my life. In the beginning of the Flesh Prison tour, I actually could tell you I had multiple times where I was staring over some of the local bridges considering jumping. Like I was depressed as all hell.
Yeah.
It was one of the worst times of my life. I went homeless for the first 6 days of the tour. Just that reflects on the past months. I was on my other tour. Like I was going through all of that. And one thing I've come to realize is that people hate honesty. People hate to acknowledge what they are. Humanity, in even when I said what I said about humans to a degree about this whole reflection of why we like AI more than humanity, but AI still sucks, or why we like technology over humanity. Humanity itself, to be human, is weird. We don't have anything special on us. Take away our technology, what do we really have? So to lie about our emotions, it feels more comfortable than to face them. And I have found for myself that I'm on an interview. Nope, not sorry, neighbor. Hey, it's bound to happen. I'm outside.
Yeah.
For humanity itself, it's a hard thing to be honest. I think to a degree, something else I've also thought on in the aspect of Flesh Prison is the idea of community versus individuality. And I'm going to quote a Nietzsche quote on this one. The difference between individuality and community is: would you rather eat yourself or have others eat you? One of my favorite quotes. And
That's profound.
Yeah.
it is. And humanity needs the social interaction, but also we hate social interaction. There's no way to be a people. We are stuck in a flesh prison.
That's kind of how I am a lot of times. I'm like, they want to talk to people, then I'm like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, kind of come back to the religion point of like, I think the fact is that nobody knows what happens when we die, and like that's very uncomfortable. So instead of just saying, oh, yeah, actually nobody knows, no one that's ever lived knew, and we don't know now, and we still don't know. That's very uncomfortable versus making up any sort of story about how you should live now because there's something beyond this. Maybe there is, but
yeah. And is it all going to be? Are they going to be like judged on what we did here? Or it'd be like, oh no, you're on to a whole new thing,
what are some of the? Because what are some of the other themes of Flesh Prison?
Yeah.
Flush Prison, that's definitely a huge one. Individuality and community, and even my own thesis on that as I've gone on in life.
Yeah, what is your
Um,
thesis on that?
yeah.
Is it because yeah, we
my
need
thesis, my thesis is that we live in a time. Okay, how do I phrase this? Ooh, that's such a good question. You ever heard the term hyper individualism?
Oh,
kind of yeah. People, I think
As a
American right
19-year old,
American culture is very probably hyper individual relative
yes.
to other
But what
places.
I'm going to say is I disagree with this, and let me explain why. It sounds crazy. Hyper individualism is feared because it is the liberty to be yourself and not be defined by anything else. Community is at odds with individuality at the same time, and the only way that you can really exist forth is to have a community that respects the individuality of individuals, and we don't see that. Go on social media, go on Threads. I love Threads. I love going on there because it's a cesspool. But you say one thing that people don't like, and suddenly it's a hive mind. And that is the issue with community to a degree. But now you get into the paradox of individuality. If you are by yourself alone, you have nobody in the end. So what is the balance? You cannot exist with one or the other. It is at odds. It is either you eat yourself fully or be eaten by others. How do you ration yourself out? To go back to the Nietzsche quote. And my thesis has come that I would rather be surrounded by people who respect me as Narcissia Netal than who see me as, let's say, oh, you're another Gen Zer like me. Oh, you're another author like me. Like, yes, I'm an author, artist, musician. Yes, I am a part of the LGBTQ. Yes, I am ADHD, but I am Narcissia Netal first. That is my name. That is who I am. You treat me as that first before anything else.
I see, like your labels. You're a collection of labels, but then I think, sometimes I've realized with being individual is sometimes people just have they have views of how people should be or what people are that they can't handle. Right, each person is actually their own unique combination of, weird things that aren't.
Individualism was never supposed to be selfish. Being selfish is not individualism. Individualism is the inner strength to be yourself. And I quote Rene Descartes here for a different purpose, but cogito ergo sum. It's a quote I've used. When anyone tries to take your strength, I tell people cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. As long as I think, you cannot take that away from me. You can call me whatever you want, but as long as I think I am, there's nothing you can do about it. And that's how I think of individualism. Me, as someone who practices individualism, it doesn't mean I'm going to be selfish. If I see you, I'm going to help you, blah, blah, blah. But it means that I know who I am. The only stuff I fear is the stuff I know, and the only person I know is myself.
Profound.
Yeah, pretty profound.
Now we're in the realm of philosophy. Infringement philosophy.
Philosophy follows everything I do.
Yeah. Good old philosophy.
So, to answer your other themes on Flesh Prison too, before I forget, another huge one was, again, the humanity of people. There's one short story, I think it's called The Night Aphrodite Slept. And The Night Aphrodite Slept talks about actually Rebecca Black. Now, funny enough, I did not know I stole a celebrity's name. This is the second time I stole someone's name.
Because I think of Friday, Rebecca Black, Friday.
Is that her? Oh.
I didn't know I stole her name, but apparently Rebecca Black's.
It also made me think of the idea of like one-hit wonders of artists who have one thing, and then the rest of their career are spent by the audience trying to chase that one thing that they were successful for, right? Whether it's a Rebecca Black, I think now she's like actually monetizing the Friday, but imagine being an artist or someone that you make such a great piece. And I think even Bob Dylan, he struggled with this where he went to Newport Folk Festival, he was this folk guitar singer, and his audience expected him to be this folk guitar singer. So when he got up on stage and started plugging his guitar into amps, his audience actually was like, no, you're...
You got to be this.
You got to be this thing, which comes back to our issue of...
We don't. That's the issue on that end too. But with Rebecca Black, this whole time, you especially through Jessica Sheik's eyes, who's an unreliable narrator on every degree, she looks at Rebecca Black as some sort of savior, which kind of switches from like savior demon or someone who doesn't deserve it, but also someone who's really pretty. It's this whole, which we'll get into in a little bit, because I know I should on that end. But her whole short story shows a human side of her where she's having a mental breakdown. Because the one important thing about this story is, again, humanity. When we talk about beauty and ugliness, we are talking about humanity here. And it is, to the conclusion I came with this book, is that paradoxically, beauty and ugliness is meaningless. To be beautiful means nothing. And to be ugly, it means nothing. There's no such thing.
And we've talked about Japanese philosophy, but there's actually, I don't know the term, but in Japanese philosophy, they actually view the human imperfection as like the beauty of the thing, which I've adopted that more as a thing to keep be sane when I'm working on home improvement projects. Realize. But then, there's the Western thought of 90-degree angles, everything's plumb square. And you get in the real world, and it's not like that. Even Japanese culture, the thing I like is when they show up to busy corporate parking lots, they park in the very far back to be considerate to people who are running late. Versus American culture, maybe the more individualism. If you get there early, you park right in the front. People that are running late. So I think it's even interesting how cultures themselves can. And I think a lot of the Eastern cultures, why they struggle is because it's so community based, and you submit to the group. Whether it's the family unit, the society, which is probably has its strengths, but also if you exist in a community where you can't be yourself, that causes itself some friction, even if you are serving the community wholly. But then a community that's just people all being their individual and only thinking for themselves also has its problem because we need collective action around certain things.
Yeah.
And in Western community too, I see in a lot of Western culture is again that idea of, oh, I got it, it's mine first. That to me, if anything, that screams weakness. That is weak. For me, someone who is strong does not have to tell you that they're strong, which is kind of something I cover in Flesh Prison a little bit too on a degree. In American culture, we have a lot of the label thing. Like when I tell you I'm an author, artist, musician, it's not telling you in the way of I am. Those are the titles I carry because those are the titles I live up to. To me, which is a weird dichotomy, I believe titles are very important. So when we get into American culture of what you kind of exampled, like, okay, I got the first parking spot, haha. It's that selfish piece. It's that, oh, I come first. Well, not necessarily. The strongest people don't have to come first. The strongest people don't have to outrun you. I actually want to quote another book of mine, The Coldest Star, Holcher. One of my favorite quotes, which he uses in such a crappy way, but he's an antagonist of mine that I hate. I hate him as an antagonist. He's a crap. I don't like writing him, but I kind of do. He says that strength is not what you do. No, what is it? Strength is not a statistic. It's what you do despite them. And to a degree, if you take that in a positive sense, that's also the way I view strength. Strength is not declaring oneself an empath or declaring yourself, oh, this is first. If I am at a buffet, for example, I've told people I'm a very selfish person. And then they look at me and they're like, how are you selfish? I'll explain why. It's because I'm not looking at selfishness as a bad thing here. I'm looking at unchecked selfishness as a bad thing. I'm selfish. If I could have the whole buffet, I would. If there's a line of people behind me, I'm going to make sure everyone eats first, and I'm going to take the remainders. Because I know that if I go first, I'm going to take it all. Which goes back also to the honesty piece of religion, when we start not being honest with ourselves, it's a lot more comfortable than being honest. To be honest with yourself is individualism and also is more strength. Because then who defines you? Only yourself. Who can change you? Only yourself. Nothing can change you. No one can define you. You define yourself. You control your destiny. That's even why I think one take I've had lately is that I think we should not be allowed to name our children. I think our children at the age of 6 should name themselves. I'll tell you why. The power to name is the power to be. I chose Narcissia Netal. That wasn't my first chosen name, but it will be my name from now on. There's a reason why. The power to name is the power to be. It is a declaration.
Okay, that's a radical idea.
Even your social security number, you get assigned a name and a social security number on the day you come into Earth, and then you carry those to the grave. And it defines you, your social security number.
I would actually like to paint my social security number into one of my paintings, but I don't.
That's the problem with how rigid it is, right? The whole if somebody gets your social security number now, you can't really.
It's kind of like the mythology about devils. Like if you know their secret name, you can control them. If somebody knows your secret number,
your social security, it's only 9 digits, or how many of 10 digits maybe. And as we're talking, I'm always thinking about the theme of individual, community, technology, where we have this thing where you're Gen Z, so maybe John here is a Gen X, and
Gen X.
I'm a millennial, but I'm curious your thoughts of technology and how, and I think it's even bad after COVID, how it's made people super individual. Now we're all on our phones individually, connecting with the community, right? A global community, but still on our phones.
I have a weird take on this. A middle stance. I'll explain why. I wouldn't say technology is the reason that problem came. I would say it's a catalyst. So if you look back into 80s or 90s, we're already moving towards that culture of kind of individualism. It's all about me. It's all about myself. Now you start adding the internet. Now you start adding social media. You already have a growing problem. It was already coming along. Now you start adding these things that are going to catalyst the problem. Another example of kind of what I'm talking about here is when people say that modern music streaming has killed the industry. No, modern music industry streaming came across to an already stumbling problem. It gave steroids to a mushroom, is what I like to say. The rot was already there. Streaming came along around 2000s, but we were already moving towards singles are all that matter. I only really listen to this artist because of aesthetic. Lyrics don't matter. Then we move forward with streaming. Then we move forward with Spotify. Then we move forward with this and that. And that is the thing that a lot of people miss. So phones didn't cause individuality. It added steroids to a mushroom and increased the rot.
I'm amazed at the LimeWire revolution, where when I was a kid, you had these programs called LimeWire, which is file sharing, where you could steal or download unlimited music, and somehow big media and big music put a cap on that real quick and rewound that. Because imagine the
I still got a lot of good music.
Yeah, but now we have subscriptions where we pay $9.99 a month to Spotify, and we've got Roku and Hulu and Hulu and Fubo.
I have a really take for you on this. I think that a lot of people would be happier if they canceled their subscriptions.
Yeah.
It sounds weird. It sounds weird. But this is something I've reflected on recently. So as a creative, I can tell you confidently, I do not play video games. I do not watch shows. I do not watch movies. I only really listen to albums, but that's while I'm working. I'll tell you why. I live in a world of not enough stimulation, and those to me are boring. I cannot think deep enough. I can't think more on them. And that's something that people look at me weirdly for, but I do not consume media anymore. I only really create. I don't find consuming media fun. I find it boring.
So you've never watched Journey to the West?
Not yet. Maybe that'll be the piece of media I finally enjoy.
Okay, because our friend from John from Nick's World, or Nick's World, he's a big fan of Journey to the West. And it is a very interesting story.
Yeah. How do you strike that artist as a difference as an artist, right? All artists, you have to ingest good art, right? You have to read Nietzsche and the philosophers to form your own philosophy or to kind of know that. So how do you balance taking in good media that inspires you or gives you ideas? I know sometimes if I listen to music,
talking to people. I talk to strangers. That's my bit.
Oh, okay.
And I'm also, if you were to go through my YouTube, it would either be comedy skits or it'd be video essays. So Blood Meridian. Video essays. I watched a lot of video essays on that one. Blood Meridian.
Do you read that book, Blood Meridian?
I have not read it. It was on my shelf, and then I met this really kind woman at Amy's Cafe on Main Street in Buffalo. Go check them out. And she was really kind, and I knew I wasn't going to get to that very, very soon. I wasn't going to get to Blood Meridian at any point in the future, so I gifted her the book as a sign of respect. And then as a bit, I signed it under my author name in the cover, even though I wasn't the author of it. I thought that was kind of funny. I like a good bit. I've been told I'd be a comedian, and that's one thing I haven't done yet. But I feel like that day's coming faster than I realized.
But Amy's Place is a good place. It's going to be involved in Infringement too.
Yeah, Infringement has a lot of good locations.
Yeah, there's different locations. Maybe if we talk to some, maybe there's a place that you could go somewhere, because it's still like it's going to be, we're going to be setting up tomorrow, or not tomorrow, at the end of this week, but they have like galleries and things. And
and speaking of flesh prisons, if you could keep your human consciousness but inhabit the flesh prison of another animal or species, would you keep your human flesh prison, or would you change it for another flesh prison, keeping the same human consciousness?
I think because I know what I know that I wouldn't be able to. But if want wise, I think it'd be really funny to be a crow, because half people would be scared of me and half the people wouldn't be. So I could just fly around and be a jerk to people and nobody would do anything.
You could people would think you're an omen, and you could but you could do smart
and I
stuff.
could fly around and nobody would bother me, and I just see a random person on the street and just fly in front of them and they all get all scared. I just exist. I think it'd be funny. But I think to a degree I wouldn't be able to go through with it, because that is the paradox. It's an empty placebo. So yes, I could become that other animal, but now I'm going to be on the same wavelength of that. Yeah. So Flesh Prison kind of talks about this, and two previous works on this level. But I've always said that if you ever ask me what the meaning of life is, I will tell you that was a stupid question. And the reason why, it's a weird question. It's a weird way I phrase it. The reason why is because it's not a question I necessarily don't enjoy discussing. But if you get that answer, are you satisfied? If it was the answer you want or answer you didn't want, is it a question of which you really want the answer to? If I know what happens to me after I die, will I be satisfied? Which kind of goes into Lovecraftian territory there.
And also the Buddha, right? He was a prince. He had all the earthly desires, and then he wasn't satisfied. So it comes back to the middle way. If you could have everything you want, if you had the answer, and I think part of life, why it makes it so valuable, because it is finite, right? If you live forever, well, I'm just going to sit on my couch and eat potato chips and watch movies because I got time, versus the fact that it ends is actually, right, the invention of death, the fact that you end in death actually is part of the thing. Because just think of all the old hacks we're run by geriatrics now. Imagine if these people never died. We'd be run by 1,000-year-olds, and there'd be.
That's the annoying thing. Because I think sometimes some people, we can't keep everybody alive forever. Which I know it's cruel to say, but
but that's how ideas, right? Ideas.
Yeah, but I want to live forever.
Ideas become out because people with old ways of thinking that are antiquated die off. Yeah. It's not that the ideas lost their validity; it's just people that believe them just aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also interesting too on that end of meaning and existentialism on that, because I kind of found my liberation, as I call it, from this, I guess, nihilism. I don't care for the answer. If I get the answer, I'm not going to be happy. My question is, do I wake up every day and feel satisfied? Because if you're to ask me, does my life make sense? No, it doesn't. Just earlier today, I was at one of my appearances with I'm doing a set of appearances at a tattoo shop called Poetry from the Flesh. Yeah. I'm a 19-year-old going on tour. Tomorrow, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and biking for an hour out to Middleport. Does that make sense? No, none of it makes sense. Yeah. I wake up every morning in my apartment, and I walk out, and I have to remind myself that I published a book. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. I walk among the streets of Lockport, and people will recognize me for what I've done, and I'm like, oh, hi. Keep in mind, 2 years ago, I was screaming and making crappy metal music in my room. Yeah. So none of it makes sense. I'm never going to be able to make it make sense. Yeah. My question is, am I satisfied? Am I fulfilled? And to a degree, yes, but I've been kind of stuck in this philosophical rut where I feel disconnected from everything and everyone to a degree because I live a different life. It's not one of luxury. It's not one of material luxury. It's one of philosophical luxury. It's one of where I'm comfortable and content. But a lot of people my age aren't. A lot of people are not. And that's strange to me.
Yeah, how are the young people doing? I'm interested in the philosophies of Gen Z, but I don't know what is the experience of a 19-year-old. What is that actually like?
If you're gonna ask the philosophies of Gen Z, I'm gonna be your worst narrator for that because I don't fit in with my own crowd. Oh, okay. Most of the friends I have are 30, 40-year-olds. I get along with older people better.
Well, yeah. What are the kids like? Because I think it's bizarre that the idea that you've grown up only knowing the internet post 9/11. I'm at the age where I'm starting to feel like a boomer now, even though I'm not a boomer. But it's like, oh, I'm having my boomer moments now.
I don't even engage with most people my age though. I'm barely even online. People think I'm rapidly, chronically online. No, which is the new term, I guess. I post. I do all my posts, and then I set my phone down. And I go work on stuff. I'm constantly traveling, writing, creating. Cool. So that's kind of what I meant by being disconnected. I'm now supposed to represent the generation I talk the least to. Oh, okay. So I think that also to a degree kind of does reflect Gen Z. But as a Gen Z person, it's now from the outside looking into a degree, but I'm also on the inside. Yeah. I'm different in the variation of I'm a published author. Yeah. I'm going on tour. I've been in the newspaper for a second time. I have another news interview coming up. Yeah. I was on the radio. That's cool. I've been a part of Buffalo Comic-Con, and I'm 19 years old. Now I have to talk to people who are the same age as me, and it's a disconnect. Even in the way we talk. I've been told I talk like I'm 26. I've been told I talk like a freaking philosopher, which I neither disagree or agree with on that one. Yeah. But there's such a disconnect. I'm in I go to a nonprofit, Gliss. It's for gay straight youth. It's something I go to every Tuesday and Thursday, typically when I'm not busy as hell like I am now. Yeah. And even then, when I go in there, I feel estranged. And it's not to anyone there. I am not them. They are not me. I am not in the reason I practice individuality on a sense is because I don't fit into a community. I talk to other trans people. My lives are not like them.
Yeah.
I fit in with nobody.
Yeah.
And if I was to sit here and necessarily shame myself for that, I think I'd lose a piece in that.
Yeah.
So my philosophy with that is, if I cannot fit into a community, then what am I? What is Narcissia Netal? When I wake up, what is my identity? And that's what's important to me. Reputation. What's my name mean? And what am I to other people? Which has kind of put me in a rather leadership position role. Like for some people, I've been told that I should be a community advocate. You know, I volunteer at the Recovery Cafe. I go to political meetings.
Yeah.
I do all this stuff. I have connections to political parties at this point. So to a degree, I've almost took a leadership role, while hating the idea of being a leader, but I'm kind of forced into it whether I like it or not, because I'm different.
Yeah.
Now representing for Gen Z on here. So whether I like it or not, I'm a leader, and I have to contemplate what that means. I have no community. I am my own community.
Yeah. I never got along good with people in my high school either. I was never like connected to, like, I was always like, and also my high school was like not even connected with the decade. It was like 10 years behind.
Yeah, I think it's something all the great artists that they've just not only dealt with their times, but sometimes artists that don't even fit in with their time periods. There could be 100. What's that like to be an artist that you could be 100, 200 years out of your time?
You know,
nobody appreciates your work, and you're just kind of existing.
People appreciate my work, but I think to a degree on that end, it's because it's honest.
Yeah.
I don't write something like, I don't, even when I go to something like Flesh Prison, it didn't come to me like psychological horror. This is a psychological horror book. It comes to me as, this is a book about beauty and ugliness with a character who is so mentally disturbed by a society that isolated her, Jessica Sheik, and another character who hates everyone because she is what she hates. To me, it's different, and it is isolating in a sense. But I even have a quote from an album I'm working on entitled, it's one I have to rewrite now, but it's entitled, "I've Gone to a Place and I Can't Come Back." And one of the quotes from that album that I love is, "It's terrible being alone, but it's worse being with people."
Yeah, it's true.
Interesting. We have Jordan James here, who is the founder of Blood is Blood.
Hey, our buddy Jordan James.
Yeah, well, I think there was actually a campaign to allow LGBTQ blood donations.
Yeah, because
they were it was banned by gay men. Gay men after the AIDS epidemic couldn't give blood.
Yeah.
So Jordan James is actually an advocate.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and Jordan James was involved in,
That's right. So coming back to my friend Yanni, who I met at the Infringement Festival a couple years, she had a quote of, "Great art should afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted." So that being said, are you trying to comfort a specific group of people, or are you trying to afflict a certain group of people? How do you ingest that?
The way I look at it is, I've explained it before that I've had a I've had a traumatic life. I've been through a lot, and in my life, I live in a constant state of uncomfortability, not only as trans, but with mental health and all of that. So who better to write about the uncomfortable than the uncomfortable? Yeah. So to a degree, the way I look at it is that there are parts of my novels where I hope you do feel comfortable. But, like, again, this novel has a murder in it, about 3 murders in it. You probably shouldn't feel comfortable with that. I'd be a little concerned if you did. So I do want you to be uncomfortable with certain aspects, not with every novel, but with Flesh Prison, yes. I wrote it to make you uncomfortable. I want your skin to crawl, but because how do you learn if there's nothing pushing against you? There is no – a good quote of mine, rather dramatic, is that there is no gain without suffering.
The suffering is part of the experience. It's a feature, not a bug. Yeah.
Exactly. How do you make progress if there's no pushback? I've actually said multiple times. I gave this quote to Andrew G today, food guy, Buffalo food guy, 4 Bites today, and I said I have always wanted to surround myself with no men, not yes men, no men. That when I come up with a concept, I want everyone in my circle to shame me and tell me it's stupid, so I have to go back and rewrite it.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, okay.
And I think Steve Jobs had a quote, too. He said, innovation happens, a bunch of rocks, going up against each other. He said, great ideas come from, these rocks bumping up and grounding each other. Exactly. Where you have a culture where it's yes men, you don't actually create good ideas or good art because, there's no... Yeah. It's that tension that makes everyone better.
One thing I got out of art school is we'd have a time where people would critique your art. And... it was good when people gave you a good critique of, you could see what they could see, but it has to be healthy, like actual, like, oh, I don't like the way you did this, or that looks good, or bring that out. And I thought that was very. It's not like saying, "Oh, you suck" immediately, but more of like, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do, but maybe this idea, if you brought that out, where they have their own, they can kind of see maybe you're going in a wrong direction." Because I think on my own too, creatively, I'll go into. I know I do.
Yeah.
I just.
And Steve Jobs had another good quote. He said, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." And I always interpret that as it's one thing to see a piece of art, and right, a good artist would just copy that piece of art and do the exact same thing. Where a great artist would take what's fundamentally good about that art and somehow translate that and put their own spin on it into whatever they're doing. Which I like that idea of And he was ruthless about stealing great ideas. And so if you read an author and he's got a great idea, don't just copy that character maybe, but what is it about that character that you can integrate into your character? And
I mean, I think art to itself is, and this is going to sound really funny, art is just a trait of plagiarism without seeming like plagiarizing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inspirations. Like if you read my first ever book, I published it when I was like 17 years old. Bunker, it is basically just a retelling of a trilogy by Tala, one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
It is a direct ripoff if you read it. It's the same damn concept.
Yeah.
Like if you really look into it.
Yeah.
But even moving forward, I've gotten a lot of inspiration for different things. I've actually become more original on certain ends.
Yeah.
Not on certain ends, on a lot of ends.
Yeah.
But I think to a degree, art is basically plagiarizing without looking like you're plagiarizing.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, too, even without realizing it, you're absorbing other people's ideas.
Consistently, you're a sponge.
Yeah, and you're...
That's why I don't need AI. I am the AI.
Yeah, it's
But
really...
how do you turn in? I know some of us talk about the muse or the thing that comes to your ideas. How do you connect with what is your authentic artistry? How do you connect with that? And where does
what makes a Narcissia Netal work or Narcissia Netal
work? How do you know that you're doing your
First of
art and
all,
not just some sort of corporate sellout procedure?
First is that you ever read Cormac McCarthy? I'm gonna assume we have.
I read Blood Meridian.
Okay, so you know how Blood Meridian's written?
Well, okay, I know it confused me because it was like there are things he messed up, and like the way he wrote things, I didn't know who was talking sometimes.
Yeah, so not that degree, but the way he wrote it is in a style that was termed, I forget who termed it. Like, it's not my term, but it's called brutalism. Yeah. The idea is that you don't, typically when you write a work, they'll tell you, you want to make sure you're being concise and direct with your readers. For me, no, I trust you as a reader. If you picked up my book, I trust that you can read. Yeah. I trust you. I'm not going to hold your hand through it. That's not my job here. Yeah. I sold you the work. I signed it. I told you about it. I hope you enjoy it. I practice brutalism. I use a lot of fancy words. I will actually look up words I will look up what's a different word for fear and try to find a fancier word of it. I have done it. Not even joking. I am constantly trying to write fancier. Yeah. I've been told by a British person that I write like old Victoria English, which I'm not going to say I necessarily agree with, but it was pretty funny to hear. But I try to write as fancy as I can. And Flesh Prison was written in that brutalistic sense. And I write as raw as I can. Yeah. And I don't know if I necessarily have a certain style, but the way I try to approach writing, too, is that when I write something in my head, I try to predict where I would go, and then I don't follow those predictions. I always flip the script on myself. Like, what would people expect here? Let's do the opposite of that. So Flesh Prison's illustrated. It's got illustrations to go with. Realistic architecture roots. Heck yeah. So even Flesh Prison, I multiple times I swap how I do things. I love that there's people screaming in the background. I've been noticing it the entire time. I think it's absolutely hilarious.
I
am walking mostly raw. They love my work.
Are you inflicting the neighbors? Are the neighbors, are they coming out with pitchforks and waiting for you to get down from your roof, or are they enjoying our commentary?
Well, I don't see any pitchforks yet, nor neighbors, so I think we're good. No, I live in a certain part of Lockport, which is known to be a louder area. But again, handle yourself how you would in the suburb. Leave everyone alone. Do your own thing. People leave you alone. So, literally, I've joked that this is my sky view. It is the I can look out on the city. Like, I have a great city view. I'm not going to show it. I'm not doxing myself today. But it's actually just a fire escape. So I will just sit out here with music, like metal albums, and I'll be drawing or writing. And I'll even scream along if I feel like it. But to get back to what makes a Narcissia Netal work, I would suppose that to a degree, I don't know if I can answer that, but how I approach my work, is constant reinvention. Like some of my books are play scripts. One of my books is all poetry. Now I'm adding illustrations. All my books come with a soundtrack. 2 of my books came with albums, with lyrics, vocals. How do I constantly reinvent my wheel? How do I take the rims off my wheel and give it new ones? I know the structure of what I'm doing. How do I redefine it?
It sounds like you're a Rolling Stone, a bit.
I am, yes.
Always moving.
Yeah.
Yes. So even now, I just started it's going to be a mini like flash fiction book. Like even my zines aren't typical zines. They're actually published with Barnes & Noble, so you can order them online.
Oh.
But they're like pocket books with illustrations that come zine-like, but with typical book binding.
Yeah.
I'm working on something like that. I'm hoping you have the aspect ratio like an actual square, like not just a book, a square. And it's going to have illustrations. It's a flash fiction taking place in the face-to-face with the Reaper, face-to-face with God world. And it's going to have an EP to go with 4 songs, 4 chapters, and 2 illustrations per chapter. And I'm working on it right now. I just finished the first chapter today. I started the first chapter today and finished it.
That's really productive. Yeah.
I literally, like, it's weird because I hate people who are like, grind set, but I'm kind of on that grind set. Like, I wake up, I work, and I go to bed. And honestly, I am quite happy with that because I don't find enjoyment in other things. I find enjoyment in what I do.
Yeah.
So, weirdly, like, it's weird because I have to talk to people and be like, yeah, you should take rest. And then they're like, didn't you just wake up at 4 a.m. today to go out to Buffalo? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. tomorrow to bike an hour down to.
I've seen your coverage. You do insane biking. You do like real serious biking. That's impressive.
Whether I like it or not, I adopted the attitude of a motorcyclist on e-bike.
Yeah.
So I have like a whole biker outfit.
Yeah.
I've been blasting Hatebreed lately, like 90s hardcore. And I've biked from like downtown. No, from UB South Campus, like UB Station, NFTA, all the way down the canal side. Tomorrow, I'm biking the Middleport. I'm getting up at 4 a.m. and I'm heading out.
Okay.
Well, do you ever get profound ideas on your bike rides?
All the time.
Albert Einstein, he used to get his best ideas just walking around in his garden. So he'd actually focus on a problem, then he couldn't get it. He'd go walk around in a garden for an hour, and then, he'd have epiphanies. So I don't know. Does that happen on your biking? Or?
Kingsman. I would not call myself a Kingsman. I spiritually, I have the idea of a biker where I want to not necessarily come off tough. I don't want to come off that way, but come off as someone who is resilient and will help you out, but also has no problem skating on past you if I have to. But anyways, to talk on that, some of my best ideas do come biking. So one concept for next year that I have is a fantasy book following a band of pirates called I Hold No Anchors. I can't talk much on it, but it's planned for next year is when I'm going to start writing it. I Hold No Anchors.
I reminisce of the life of a pirate. I feel like that used to be a career path that was open to people. And now, right, it's just kind of be a corporate slave. The idea of getting on a ship and going looking for treasure, while dangerous, it actually kind of sounds exciting.
You call piracy a career choice?
Right? It was an idea if you were in a small village and there's only corporate bureaucratic jobs there. Back in the day, you could just go to the port and sign up to be a pirate and go on some sort of crusade. And who knows? Maybe you'd die. Maybe you'd find gold.
Also, that's awesome.
Yeah, you'd go on. There's an adventure, right?
But
whereas now we're just doomed. If I'm in Buffalo, I joke there is no economy here. Right? It's just a giant bureaucracy. Yeah. I can go get a job.
There is an economy. You just have to be willing to go against the grain on everything.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
I make a living off my creativity at 19 years old.
But back in the day, I could have been able to go to the outer harbor and just look for a job on a ship, and this ship's going going down this river. We don't know where it goes, but the last crew didn't come back, but the crew before that came back with a bunch of gold. So
but maybe like movies make that sound more exciting than it would in reality.
I mean, typically piracy wasn't even like. They were very modest, surprisingly, which is weird to say. They didn't really like jump on and start killing everyone. Yeah. They jumped on and were like, hey, we have to kill one of you. We might have to take one of you captive. Let's not do this in a way where I'm murdering you all. Yeah. And it was weird. It's really weird. I've watched a lot of skits on it and read up on it. Yeah. But to very briefly go over I Hold No Anchors. I'm going to try to briefly explain the idea. Yeah. It is a story about boundaries, actually. And the entire story follows a band of pirates following the captain. Yeah. And the captain in the beginning of the book, puts them all in front of this rotted skull with a pipe. It's on a pipe, and he gives this long speech about how he holds no anchors. Anyone who gets in his way, anyone who holds him down will be cut out, will be thrown overboard and drowned.
Yeah.
They will be killed. He will get rid of them. They are not allowed on this voyage. And if anyone has any doubts, say them now. Nobody says any doubts. Of course, things happen. And then he tells them that skull that they've been sitting in front of, where like flies are flying around it, was the old captain, and that he killed the old captain because he was an anchor. And I know that the beginning chapter is actually going to finish with the sentence, "I hold no anchors."
Interesting. So
And it becomes a larger moral dilemma throughout the book, but that's the basic idea.
Yeah.
We've got about 2 minutes left.
yeah, coming back
Do
to
we
your
wanna
idea.
finish up?
Well, coming to your idea, yeah, you said you have a start and an end. You don't know what the middle. So it sounds like this idea you have the start, which I think is interesting.
Start and end.
Something I'll take away, because I think I just have a lot of ideas. I don't actually think about it. Oh, this is the start of idea. This is the end.
The middle doesn't matter because you're going to come with the middle as you go. The middle it's better to have it improvised because you don't want to be too rigid. You want to be like bamboo, where you're strong because you're flexible.
Yeah, Nathan, we're at the end of our show here, unfortunately, with the minute. So where can people find your tour? Where can we buy your books? Where can people?
You can follow me on Facebook, Narcissia_Netal, NARCISSIA_NETAL. Same thing on Threads, YouTube, Instagram. Barnes and Noble, Flesh Prison, under the same name. Easy to find. The tour is all over Western New York. Tomorrow is Middleport, Alternative Grounds Cafe.
Cool.
There is August dates. They are not announced yet. You can find the soundtrack on Bandcamp. You can find it on any streaming service. Look up Flesh Prison. The Galoopian is the artist profile. You can order CDs and vinyls on Elastic Stage. And honestly, I just recommend going to my social media profiles. I do check my DMs. If I don't respond, by the way, that means I do not want to respond to you. Do not send me 5 DMs. There's links anytime I do any promo posts where I talk even about funny stuff. There's usually a little write-up. Like I know for the announcement of this show, I copy and pasted the write-up. And I guess that's the briefest I can go over. Middleport tomorrow, Lockport, Summerween, Pine Street Horror. Meet me there too. Flesh Summer.
Well, thank you. And it was very thought-provoking. And good luck on the rest of the tour. And looking forward to everybody get a copy of Flesh Prison.
Yeah.
And
Yes, I will find you if you don't. No.
and also,
it sounds like a
also
fascinating book.
go to the Infringement Festival, which is
go to the Infringement Festival,
which is coming up.
Yeah,
so next week. And until next time, we're fading to darkness now.
Yeah. Okay. Hey.
Okay.
Nice
Bye.
weekend.
Adios.
That was great. Yeah.